Whoa! Flushed a week, bitch!
Flushed a Week has truly been an amazing time, hasn't it? For all other videos that we've done during this week, I feel like we've grown and changed a lot as people. Okay, in all seriousness, this was just a funny, catchy name and we decided to run with it, and hey, Flushed Away's an alright movie, so why not give it a little more exposure? The only other person that's done that is Cosmodor, and we don't speak about him, do we? So anyways, it's time to talk about the best character and overall best aspect of the entire movie, the Slugs. They were the minions before the minions were ever the minions, and I can't thank them enough. Throughout all their screaming and singing and 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 screaming and singing. Okay, in all seriousness, the Slugs are probably my least favorite parts of that movie, but that's okay, because this video isn't actually about them, it's about the real best character in all of Flushed Away, and this time I swear it's not a joke, it's the Toad. The Toad is the main antagonist in Flushed Away, and yes, he's a meme. And rightly so, I might add. But there's more to him than just,
huzzah! A man of quality!
I will show you today why the Toad is himself a man of quality. Huzzah. So, what is the Toad exactly? He was an ordinary pet toad owned by none other than Prince Charles. The two were inseparable and were basically as close as an owner and pet could possibly be. They played together, they ate together, they went on adventures together, and the Toad was truly happy. He had a boy that loved him, and, because of course now he's a royal toad, he also just so happens to be part of the most powerful family in the United Kingdom. Unless, of course, you count the Prime Minister and the leader of the opposition, and okay, so the royal family isn't exactly the most powerful family in the United Kingdom, but they're definitely the most recognizable. But as we all know, he ended up getting replaced by none other than a common rat. So while Prince Charles ended up replacing him with the rat, the Toad was seized by a servant and was flushed down the toilet. And then he lost it, and I mean he really lost it. I'm not talking about just losing his mind, although that most certainly did happen. He lost his family, his one friend, his lifestyle, everything is all gone. And it all happened so fast. He wasn't really able to process it. Therefore, he went off the rails, deciding that if he couldn't have his upper-class royal lifestyle up top, he was gonna make it down at the bottom, and at the expense of everybody else. Because of what happened to him, the Toad absolutely, positively despises all rats, and he wants them all gone. In his mind, if he gets rid of them all, then that's gonna make everything right. Justice will have been dealt. Very swiftly, I might add. The Toad sees himself as the good guy throughout all this, and that's kinda strange because objectively speaking, he does some pretty terrible things. Yes, he was wronged. Yes, he was ripped from his home. Yes, he lost his one true friend in the world, but that does not excuse some of the things he does. Like, oh, I don't know, plotting mass genocide for one, but even if we're not counting that, all of his enemies, which just so happen to be rats, will wind up getting captured by his henchmen Spike and Whitey, and then will later get frozen as part of one of his two collections. Yeah, that's totally something a good, upstanding person would do, but he's not a person, he's a toad, so I guess it's okay. This little collection of enemies he's got here is definitely a power trip more than anything else. Finally, he's able to get his revenge on the species he feels wronged him, even if it's only that one rat that Prince Charles ended up getting for a gift. The more enemies he collects, the more he feels like he's in control. And the more he feels like he's in control, the more he'll be able to imagine that once again, he's part of that oh so wonderful royal family. And speaking of the royal family, that's his other collection. He collects anything and everything having to do with the United Kingdom, the royal family, and especially Queen Victoria. Once again, it's a way to recreate the life he used to have. Every single trinket he can get his hands on goes into this collection, so that way, it'll be like he never left. He's still in Kensington, the royal borough, up top. Look at the way he describes these things that to us kinda seem like tourist trinkets or sometimes even outright garbage. To him, they're the most special, amazing things in the world. So imagine his pain when Roddy ends up destroying all of it. It may have been an accident, but it's all gone. Forever. That bust of Queen Victoria may be able to be rebuilt, but it's not going to be easy. That, and also the jewel that he thought was the prize jewel of the royal family, fallen off of the crown of Queen Victoria herself, also happened to get stolen from him, even though he stole it from Rita in the first place. Still, it had to hurt a lot. The one thing he had to hold on to, aside from his collection of frozen enemies, was taken away, basically never to return ever again. And it all happened because of someone that he was starting to bond with. Funny enough, that person was not a person at all, but a rat. Roddy. Once again, the Toad hates rats. But when he heard that Roddy was from Kensington, he saw that this was a kindred spirit. It's very clear that down in the sewer, people aren't super cultured or well refined, at least nowhere near as much as the Toad, or I guess maybe Le Frog. So when he screams, "Huzzah, a man of quality," he really means it. I can't imagine how agonizing it's been for him just waiting, pleading for somebody at least close to his refined stature to come on by. Even if this person just so happens to be a rat, he'll accept it. Anything to talk to someone like a true equal for once. I mean, really, what other options does he have? Every time he tries to talk this way to Le Frog, he always gets made fun of. Le Frog makes fun of everyone's pain but his own. He's not sympathetic, he doesn't even really listen. In fact, whenever the Toad tries to bare his soul or go through the photo album, he always rolls his eyes and complains. He's not gonna talk to the slugs because the slugs are, well... And Spike and Whitey are gonna wind up dead anyways, so why bother? Yeah, that's another thing about the Toad. His main henchmen are Spike and Whitey. They always do his low-down, dirty work. In fact, the lowest down and dirtiest of work. They do the missions that Le Frog and his minions will not do. Can you guess why that's the case? If you guessed it's because they're rats, then you're right. You're smart. I like it. Given that the Toad's plan is to wipe out, and I quote, every single rat, they are gonna die too. His own henchmen, the ones that have been doing all of his grunt work for him, the ones who are still loyal to him after all this time, he's gonna get rid of them because they're rats and for no other reason. He's kinda like Voldemort in the sense that he shows just as little compassion to his allies as to his enemies. And once all these rats are gone, he's gonna be able to populate the sewers with his spawn. No one really knows how he got them because he never mentions a mate of any kind, and I'm sure if there was a female Toad around here, she would have been just like him. Otherwise, I don't think they ever would have gotten to, you know. Do I think the Toad would have been happy if he won? If all the rats were killed and he replaced them with his tadpoles? I actually think so. What he really wants is companionship above all else. It's not outright stated in the film, but that's his driving motivation. Whether it be Prince Charles, or Roddy, or Le Frog, or whoever it is that he's trying to talk to, he wants a peer, he wants an equal. Albeit with the upper hand, of course, he really wants to feel powerful and strong, so I guess what he wants is someone who's one step below him, that way he can have his ego, but also have a friend. That's exactly what he'll get if he wins. And he knows this full well. Finally, he'll go back to the life of security he always wanted. And judging by the fact that the Toad doesn't die at the end, there's a chance that he could end up someday, maybe, get the ending he always wanted. I don't think it'll ever happen though, considering the fact that he's essentially the underground crime lord and everyone fears and loathes him. They're never really gonna want to give him a chance. It's possible, but unlikely, you know? Just think how different it would have been if Roddy said, "Hey, Toad, you want to come back up to Kensington? Well, I want to do that too. Why don't we work on it together and we can escape the sewer?" Who knows? He might have taken him up on his offer and all the rest of the movie could have been avoided. Of course, the movie isn't bad, so we'd be missing out on that, but it's movie logic, what do you expect? We need the hero, we need the villain, we need the adventure, and we need the lesson learned. But I can tell you, Flushed Away definitely did teach me a lesson, and that's that its main villain, the Toad, truly is a character of
quality.
Well, folks, thanks for watching the video. What'd you guys think? Do you like the Toad as much as we do? What are your thoughts on Flushed Away? Comment below and let us know because we're always excited to hear what you guys have to say. Real quick, I'd like to thank our Patreon executive producers, Leaf Razor, Azarius, Whoopdoo, Michaela Bellamy, MD the Dude, Blackjack, and Nightingale Wednesday Nightmare. If you too would like your name read at the end of every Media Mementos video, then consider donating to our Patreon, which, by the way, has a link in the description below. Before we go, it's time for Comment of the Day, and today's Comment of the Day goes to Lucy Muir. I hope I said that right. Once again, it's another very long comment that we can't read entirely in this video, but still, it's obviously great because, well, it's the Comment of the Day, and also, it comes courtesy of the person who's organizing the Flushed Away Reanimated collab. At the time of recording, it's not out yet, of course, so head on over to the channel and start waiting. But don't badger them, please. They don't need that kind of stress. But I agree. Even though I wasn't the one who was in the video, I basically share all the same thoughts that Billy had about Flushed Away. Sure, it's maybe not the greatest film ever made, but it's definitely good and does not deserve to be shunned. In case you can't tell by the 2 videos we did on this film, of course. Anyways, thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you guys next time!